He strikes out the side as the Brewers sweep the series.
2019 has been the year of juice baseballs and home run records being broken, but that doesn't mean that pitchers aren't having a good year either. What's going on, guys? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another Major League Baseball video. We are going to have a spicy topic at hand because you guys have already seen part number 1 where we talked about the best position player from every single division in baseball. We're going to go ahead and make part 2 right now where we go through the American League East, we go all the way down to the National League West, and we talk about the best pitcher from every single division. And let me tell you guys, this was a lot harder than part number 1, so you guys want to watch all the way until the end because I'm going to need your help as well. But before we do that, I do want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's video. It's going to be Baseball Lifestyle. If you go to BL101.com and use code Fuzzy, you can get 25% off. I don't know any other creator that has a discount code that is that high, so if you guys are trying to get some shirts, maybe hard 90s, anything like that, I'll go ahead and throw up some other shirts right now. Use code Fuzzy to save 25% off your entire order. I promise you guys, they make great stuff. It's really comfortable. And without further ado, it's time to pick the best pitchers from every division in baseball. Starting with the American League East, at the very beginning of this season, you would have thought that Chris Sale would have been a lock, but unfortunately, Chris Sale had a 4.4 ERA, and he's now out with an injury. Brandon Workman has actually been the best Red Sox pitcher this year. We also have guys like Luis Severino, who unfortunately has been injured for a good amount of the season as well. So at this point, when you have Chris Sale being injured, you have Luis Severino not even really playing that much. I think the only option is Charlie Morton. And the thing about Charlie Morton is, even if Chris Sale and Luis Severino were healthy, I still feel like this guy would have pushed them for the best pitcher in that division, because if we take a look at his stats, ever since he's played with the Astros, his fastball velocity has gone up, and his stats this year have been crazy. In 182 innings pitched, Charlie Morton has a 3.16 ERA to go along with 223 strikeouts and an insane mix of pitches. If you guys don't believe me that Charlie Morton is filthy, go ahead and watch this next clip, because this is what they call a nutmeg, when you swing at a pitch and the curveball actually goes between your legs. This is just proof that Charlie Morton deserves this, especially because Chris Sale and Severino were on the shelf this year. Charlie Morton's filthy.
Never seen a guy throw an off-speed pitch between someone's legs and get a swing and a miss. It was insane. I had to ask Charlie Relaford, who is the umpire up in the press box, why he was able to go to first base without having to throw down.
So we just talked about the American League East. Charlie Morton pretty much won by default, but if we go to the American League Central, this one's going to be a little bit more crowded, because if we take a look at the players, we have Jose Barrios, Lucas Giolito, and then last but not least, we have Shane Bieber and Mike Clevenger. So we're going to talk about them all right now. But before we even say that, I want you guys to let me know, who do you think is the best pitcher from the American League Central? Jose Barrios has a 3.63 ERA, but I really feel like he's better than that. His month of August was not great to him, and also he only has 173 strikeouts and 181 innings pitched, but I really want to go ahead and include him because he's important to the Minnesota Twins, and when Jose Barrios is on, he's filthy. Just for 2019, he's not going to be the best from this list. Mike Clevenger has a 2.68 ERA and 149 strikeouts and 107 innings pitched. Now, coming from an Indians fan, I would probably say he's having our best season from a pitching standpoint, but the only thing is the fact that he's only thrown 107 innings, I can't put him above Lucas Giolito, and I can't put him above Shane Bieber. That's just my opinion, though. So it's going to come down to this. Who am I going to pick, Lucas Giolito or Shane Bieber? In my opinion, I feel like Lucas Giolito has not been the same pitcher that he was in the first half as he's been in the second half. Because if we take a look at his stats, he has a 3.41 ERA, which is really good, in 176 innings pitched. He also has a 1.06 whip to go along with 228 strikeouts. So again, Lucas Giolito is no scrub. He was the worst starting pitcher in baseball back in 2018, so he's bounced back. He's going to be great for a long time, but he's not Shane Bieber. Now, I will be honest, Shane Bieber had kind of a rough game today against the Minnesota Twins, but the Minnesota Twins, they have 4 players with 30 or more home runs, so they're going to beat you sometimes. But if we take a look at his stats before today's game, he has a 3.17 ERA, which is really good. He has 241 strikeouts and 195 innings pitched. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and give it to Shane Bieber. He has 195 innings pitched compared to the 107 of Mike Clevenger. He's beating everyone else. So I think with that 3.17 ERA, an insane strikeouts per 9, and he doesn't walk a lot of hitters, players, I think that we can all agree that the All-Star Game MVP is the best pitcher in 2019 from the AL Central. The final division that we have to talk about from the American League is the AL West, and this one's going to be crazy because we have the three-headed monster from Houston. We have Verlander, Cole, and Greinke. I don't know who we're going to pick from there. We also have Mike Minor and Lance Lynn, and then last but not least, Liam Hendricks, but we're going to talk about only a few of those guys. I cannot believe that I'm saying this, but I'm not going to pick Garrett Cole, even though he's setting records and joining Pedro Martinez, but his teammate Justin Verlander, I feel like he's been just a little bit better. But to talk about Cole, in 192 innings pitched, this dude has a ridiculous 292 strikeouts. To go along with that, he has a 2.62 ERA and just a .91 whip. So if we're talking about whip, that's amazing, but it's still not as good as his buddy Verlander. We'll talk about JV in just a second because I think Zach Greinke is having a great season, but in my opinion, Liam Hendricks, because he's been in the American League the entire season, we're going to talk about him. And my gosh, as a relief pitcher, this dude has been unreal. If we take a look at his stats, the guy has 113 strikeouts as a reliever, which is ridiculous. He also has a 1.61 ERA with a .98 whip. So I think that this guy, he's easily one of the best, if not the best relief pitcher in baseball, but we can't compare him to Justin Verlander. He is the best pitcher in the American League West, and at this point, it's not really close, but it is because Garrett Cole is making it close. But when you have Justin Verlander aging like fine wine, shout out to my man Draftnik Mark, throwing no-hitters and matching Garrett Cole to 2.62 ERA with just as many strikeouts almost, it's just hard to fathom anyone beating him at this point.
Ground ball to third. Toro is there. His throw in time. Justin Verlander. Another exclamation point in a Hall of Fame career. His third career no-hitter.
Now, the reason why I say Justin Verlander is because he has a few more innings pitched than Garrett Cole, and he has that no-hitter, and combined with his whip, it's lower than Garrett Cole. I have to pick JV. He's also married to Kate Upton, so that's going to give him some bro points as well. So honestly, no personal shots at Garrett Cole, but I truly think that JV is the best pitcher from the American League West. Now we have to talk about the National League. The National League East is going to be so hard because there's a lot of pitchers that we might not even talk about. We have Steven Strasburg. There's just a lot of guys, but the three that we're going to focus on are Mike Soroka, Max Scherzer, and Jacob deGrom. How are we going to pick the last? Oh god, this is going to suck. I'm going to go ahead and make the case for each of these guys, and I want you to let me know in the comment section down below who would you take, and at the very end, I'll go ahead and let you know. But we're going to start with Mike Soroka. In 164 innings pitched, he has a 2.57 ERA with a 1.09 whip, which is awesome. But the only thing about Mike Soroka is he's kind of like a Greg Maddux type. He only has 130 strikeouts in those 164 innings. So yes, the ERA is great, but if we compare him to the other two pitchers who also have a good ERA, their stuff is so much nastier. This is going to be an epic matchup. We have Max Scherzer versus Jacob deGrom. We're going to go ahead and talk about Mad Max first. In 159 innings pitched, he has 226 strikeouts to go along with a minuscule 2.65 ERA, and his whip is just above 1 at 1.03. But if we compare that to Jacob deGrom, who's at a 1.01, even his whip is better. Jacob deGrom also has a lower ERA to go along with almost 30 innings more pitched, so I think that Jacob deGrom, even though his strikeout total is not as high in terms of his strikeouts per 9, I have to go ahead and give it to Jacob deGrom, even though his record isn't that great because the Mets give him no run support. Max Scherzer's amazing. He's an absolute stud, but I think for the second year in a row, Jacob deGrom is the best pitcher from the NL East, and I want you guys to let me know, do you agree or disagree? Last year in 2018, there were so many Sonny Gray haters. I feel like there was more haters than there were Sonny Gray believers, and he has shut everyone up, including Yankees fans, because in 2019, Sonny Gray will be making the list. Now, will he be the best pitcher from the National League Central? I'm not too sure because we'll have to talk about it. But the pitchers, in my opinion, that deserve to be talked about are Luis Castillo, Sonny Gray, Josh Hader, Felipe Vasquez, and then last but not least, Jack Flaherty. Who would have thought he'd be in after almost a 5 ERA in the first half? We're going to talk about the two pitchers from the Reds. We have Luis Castillo and Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray, like I said, he has a 2.8 ERA to go along with a 1.09 whip, and he has 190 strikeouts in just over 160 innings pitched. And now if we compare him to Luis Castillo, he strikes out a little bit more hitters. He also gives up a few more runs, but there's no shame in saying you have 211 strikeouts in 178 innings pitched and a 3.27 ERA. That is really good. And then we have to go to Jack Flaherty, who has a 3.05 ERA. Now you guys might be thinking 3.05, it's a little bit high. high, but his second half stats, he has a 1.05 ERA in the second half with a 0.74 whip. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and say I think that Jack Flaherty has been the best pitcher in the NL Central simply because of the second half. The Cardinals are now one of the better teams in baseball because of him. I'm not going to pick Josh Hader, and I'm not going to pick Felipe Vasquez, even though they're both dominating. There was once a point where Josh Hader made history. He had 25 strikeouts in 9 innings pitched. He's the only pitcher in modern baseball history to do that. Also, Felipe Nightmare Vasquez, he's insane. But for right now, because of that 1.05 ERA, Jack Flaherty carrying the Cardinals, he's going to be my pick today. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree, also let me know. The final division that I need to talk about is the National League West, because just like the Astros, the LA Dodgers also have a three-headed monster. We have Walker Buehler, Hyun-Jin Ryu, and Clayton Kershaw. They're all kind of different pitchers, but they all get really good results. And then also, I do have to include Madison Bumgarner, although he's not going to make the list. I just want to give him a shout out because he's having a decent season. And then Kirby Yates, who would have thought? Leading the league in ERA and saves. Good for him. We're going to go ahead and start off with Walker Buehler, then we're going to go Clayton Kershaw, Kirby Yates, and then we'll talk about, in my opinion, the best pitcher from this division, Hyun-Jin Ryu, and we'll talk about exactly why I think that even though his second half stats have been a little bit shaky and Walker Buehler has been the exact opposite. Remember how I said in the beginning of the video, I'm going to need some help? This is where I'm going to need it. Who has been the best pitcher in the NL West? Let's talk about it, and then you guys have to decide. In 166 innings pitched, Walker Buehler has a 3.14 ERA, a 1.02 whip, and 201 strikeouts to only 228 walks. So Walker Buehler, he's nasty, and he does not walk a lot of guys, so that's going to be his case. He strikes out a ton of guys. He doesn't really put anyone on via a free pass, and also his second half stats has been so much better than his first half, so he kind of has the same case as Jack Flaherty. Now, if we compare him to his buddy Clayton Kershaw, I mean, he's not bad. And what has been considered a down year for Clayton Kershaw simply because his walks per 9 and his home runs per 9 are up just a little bit in 2019. He has a 3.1 ERA and a 1.05 whip in a down year. So Clayton Kershaw, a first ballot, probably a unanimous Hall of Famer, in a down year is still one of the game's best pitchers, which is just, that's mind-boggling. Kirby Yates has an insane 1.23 ERA and is leading all of baseball pretty easily with 40 saves. So I never would have thought that Kirby Yates would become this dominant. Although he was very good in 2018, I didn't really see this happening. I thought maybe Craig Stammen was going to be their main pitcher, but he proved me wrong. Kirby Yates has been a stud this year. So we talked about Jack Flaherty and Walker Buehler being so much better in the second half than they were in the first half. Hyun-Jin Ryu has been the exact opposite. That's why I hesitate to say that he's been the best pitcher, because he has an over 3 ERA, but he still has a 2.32 ERA for all of 2019. Now, we know that Hyun-Jin Ryu is not going to strike out 300 hitters in a single season, but he's going to get you out methodically, and that 2.35 ERA combined with last year's 1.7 ERA, I mean, it's hard to beat that. So you guys have to let me know in the comment section down below, who is the best pitcher from the NL West? And also, if you agree or disagree with any of my picks, you guys have to let me know. Thank you all so much for watching. This was a lot of fun to watch. There was a lot of stats and everything, which is my favorite thing to do in all of sports. Talking about baseball statistics, it's absolutely my favorite thing. It's so much fun. So make sure you guys head on over to BL101.com. Use code Fuzzy for 25% off if you want to get this guy or any of the other things. They have shirts, stickers that you can put on your Hydro Flask, all the fun stuff. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.